In November 1848, in failing health, Chopin returned to Paris to consult his doctors. Intriguingly, Jenny Lind made an unexpected visit to Paris the following spring, as soon as she had completed her contract at Her Majesty's Theatre. This was despite the fact that she disliked Paris, and at the time of her visit, the city was in the grip of a severe cholera outbreak. For 3 weeks, she stayed in a house on the Champs-Élysées, and Chopin wrote in a letter that she had visited him and sung in his apartment. Eventually, fearing for her health, Jenny left the city. She must have been painfully aware that she would probably never see him again. Shortly after her departure, Chopin received a mysterious package containing 25,000 francs to cover his considerable debts. The money may have come from his Scottish piano student, Jane Stirling. But Jenny Lind was famous for her wealth and philanthropy. Was this perhaps a farewell gift from her? Jenny Lind wasn't the only one of the singers who rallied round. Pauline Viardot was in regular contact and sent reports of his health to George Sand. And his old friend, the beautiful Polish Countess Delfina Potocka's name appears regularly in the correspondence of his final months. In September 1849, Chopin's friends rented him a small apartment in Paris's grandest square, the Place Vendôme. It was situated in the magnificent building that is now home to the ancient French jewelry house of Chaumet.
What an incredible place.
Yes.
It's enormous.
Yes, it's with a view on the Place Vendôme.
Yeah.
According to Beatrice de Plainval, Chopin was accommodated in a small apartment on the ground floor. This grand salon was at the time rented by Delfina Potocka.
She wrote that on the 15th of October 1849, on that day, she is visiting Chopin, and he was terribly anxious. And he asked her, he told her, I don't want to live the life without the song of my piano. Could you manage something for me? So she decided to move the bed of Chopin. Where was the piano? It means here. And he spent the last 3 days of his life here. So in such beautiful room, with that view on the Place Vendôme, we live with Chopin here.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the 15th of October, as this painting describes, Delfina Potocka sang to Chopin as he lay dying on his bed here in this room. People argue over what she sang and who else was here. But what's most fascinating is that Chopin's last request was not so much to hear a piano or his own music, but the sound of a woman's voice.
It's my little office.
Beatrice had one more thing to show James and Natalia.
Show me your hand. That's a beautiful hand.
Oh, well, thank you.
Mine is here because I have a little problem, which is, voila.
Wow.
Lucky. Look here. This is the hand of Chopin.
Amazing. Can I put mine on top?
Yes.
Like, I'm shaking. Can you see? It's amazing.
It's very similar.
It's not so different,
Yeah,
huh?
no, so different. Long fingers.
Very, yeah.
Yes.
And very skinny.
Yes,
Mouth.
that's why he was tuberculosis. This is a goulash at the end of his life.
It's almost like a child's hand.
Yes,
in a
yes,
way.
but look how delicate he is. You
Yeah,
see?
and the wrists
The
too,
wrist
like
is,
mine,
you know,
very small and
very
thin.
similar.
Wow.
Yeah. And you see.
Just amazing. Amazing.
Living here myself since 40 years, I have the emotion. This is the test of the genius. When you live on the Place Vendôme and when you live in this salon, And when each day you have the emotion,
Yeah.
that's it.
Very good.
Even you. Let's do something one day.
Around 2 o'clock in the morning of October the 17th, 1849, Chopin died. He was 39 years old.
Chopin was very famous being a teacher, being a pianist, being a composer. But when he died, I mean, it was the true beginning of his legacy.
Chopin's funeral was an extraordinary and spectacular affair. The facade of this grand church, the Church of the Madeleine, was draped with huge black velvet cloths. In the center, a large badge embroidered in silver with the initials FC. The church was packed with up to 3,000 people. French and Polish aristocrats and fashionable society far outnumbered Chopin's friends and fellow musicians. The ceremony began with a momentous orchestral arrangement of Chopin's own B-flat minor sonata. The highlight of this grand ceremony was a full performance of Mozart's Requiem. Among the soloists was Chopin's friend and collaborator, Pauline Viardot. The magnificence of Chopin's funeral gives some indication of the strength of his reputation at the time of his death.
The astonishing thing is that he managed to impose his own method and his own will and his own standards and his own way of doing things on the musical world. He turned himself into a kind of a sort of untouchable in a way. By the beginning of the 1840s in Paris, he had a completely unique position. He didn't have to give endless concerts to prove how good he was. He gave pitifully few concerts and was heard by very, very few people. And yet the entire musical world was utterly convinced that he was right up there as possibly the greatest.
He ceased to be a human being in the eyes of his audiences, in the eyes of Poles, of the Polish intelligentsia in particular, long before he died. He became an idea. He became a monument.
After his death, Chopin's heart was removed from his body and taken to Warsaw to be venerated in a special tomb, currently being renovated in time for the grand bicentenary celebrations. This canonization of Chopin is undoubtedly one of the reasons why the history and the legend of Chopin's life are sometimes hard to unravel. Certainly, the details of Chopin's relationship with all of the singers in his life remain tantalizingly incomplete. What's undeniable is their legacy. Chopin's great achievement was to find not just a new musical language, but a new voice for the piano. Through his singing style of composing and playing, he discovered an almost organic human sound within the instrument, and it's this echo of the human voice within his music that gives it a power that still mesmerizes us today. Although we will never know exactly what the voices of Konstancja Gladkowska, Delfina Potocka, Pauline Viardot or Jenny Lind really sounded like, their singing is immortalized somewhere deep inside Chopin's music.